Good afternoon, everybody. This is our weekly session of uh, the Book of Heaven. We're in volume number 1, and the last time we were the last paragraph that we read had to do with a reprimand that Jesus did to Louisa because he told her that after he cleanses a soul, in that case her soul, in the sacrament of confession, that uh, it will offend him if the soul reminds the sin again. It's like revolving the mud, the past mud. So if he doesn't remember nothing, why would she be remembering what she did? So we can continue uh, reading the next paragraph.
Mhm. And I said to him, No, Lord, you are so good, but I felt my heart split with tenderness. And so are you the one who wants to carry these things on? And I, No, no, I don't want to. And he, Let us think about loving and contenting each other. From that time on, I did not think about it so much. Uh, I did as much as I could in order to content him. And I prayed that he himself would teach me what I should do in order to prepare for the time past. And he said to me, I am ready to do what you want. See, the first thing that I told you I wanted from you was the imitation of my life. So let us see what you lack.
So we can stop in a moment right here. What I, what I understand in this paragraph is that Jesus wanted her to imitate his life, and that would be a way of contenting, like him. So actually, he told her, "Let us think more about loving each other, right, and contenting each other, instead of thinking of what you were thinking before."
Lord, I said to him, I lack everything. I have nothing. And he said to me, Do not fear, little by little, we will do everything. I myself know how weak you are, but it is for me that you must draw strength. I don't remember it in sequence, but I will say what I can. And he added, I want you to be always upright in your actions, with one eye looking at me and with the other eye looking at what you're doing. I want creatures to disappear from you completely. If you receive a command, do not look at the people. No, rather, you must think that I myself want you to do what you are being commanded. So, with your eyes fixed on me, you will not judge anyone. You will not look at whether the thing is painful or enjoyable, whether you can do it or not. Closing your eyes to all this, you will open them to look at me alone. You will take me with you, thinking that my gaze is fixed on you, and you will say to me, Lord, for you alone I do this, for you alone I want to work, no longer a slave of the creatures. So if you walk, if you work, if you speak, if anything you do, your only aim must be that of pleasing me alone. Oh, how many defects you will avoid if you do this.
So we can stop right now and think a little bit about what Jesus is telling Jesus right to do. Um, I don't know if someone wants to say something about this, because during as we go on and on reading the Book of Heaven, this is something that is repeated in different ways. Like, for example, with one eye look at me, and with the other eye look at what you're doing. So it means don't take your vision away from me. Look at me always. Like if somebody is doing something that is hurting you, for example, uh, don't take away your vision from me. Don't look at what that person is doing to you. Look at what that person is doing to me, and imitate me. How do you imitate me? Well, do what I did, right? When that happened to me. What did I do? I repaired. that's what you should do. You should repair me. So this, we're only in volume number 1, but as I said, in a lot of other readings, we will understand a little bit better what is the meaning of this. With one eye, look at me, and with the other eye, look at what you are doing. So I don't know if someone else wants to add to what I said. If not, we can continue then.
Okay. Other times he would say to me, I also want that if people mortify you, insult you, contradict you, you keep your gaze fixed in me, thinking that from my own lips I am saying to you, daughter, I myself am the one who wants you to suffer this, not the creatures. Remove your gaze from them. You and I always, all the others you must destroy. See, I want to make you beautiful by means of these sufferings. I want to enrich you with merits, work your soul, render you similar to me. You will give it to me as a gift. You will thank me affectionately and will be grateful to those who give you the occasion to suffer, repaying them with some benefit. By doing this, you will walk as upright before me. Nothing will ever again give you restlessness, and you will enjoy perfect peace.
Well, this is very interesting, right? This paragraph is very interesting because, like, for example, he said, and you will be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many of us are grateful, right, when somebody does something that we don't like, that they make us suffer, or they say things that they're not supposed to say, or they insult us?
Mhm.
Well, do what I did. What did Jesus do? He repaid them with benefits. So he's telling Louisa, uh, and will be grateful to those people who give you the occasion to suffer, because those are opportunities that are given to us for what? Repaying them with some benefit. Like, for example, pardon them for what they are doing. No, offering our suffering, united with Jesus' suffering, right? So that way, repairing Jesus for his suffering, and that gives those souls the opportunity to maybe one day they will understand what they had done, they repent, and they convert. So that's the way we should be acting.
Yes.
Mhm.
No matter what, always see Jesus in everyone. This is the teachers for us.
Exactly.
So after I tried to exercise myself in these things for some time, now doing it and now failing, although I see clearly that I still lack this spirit of uprightness, and I'm ever more confused, thinking of my great ingratitude. He spoke to me about, and he made me understand the necessity of the spirit of mortification. Although I remember that in all these things that he told me, he always added that everything should be for love of him, and that the most beautiful virtues, the greatest sacrifices, would be insipid if they did not take origin from love. Charity, he said to me, is a virtue that gives life and splendor to all the others, in such a way that without it they are all dead. My eyes receive no attraction, and they have no power over my heart. Be careful then, and let your works, even the least ones, be invested by charity that is in me, with me, and for me.
So this paragraph is very important as well. It speaks about mortification, the spirit of mortification. So what does that mean? Mortify ourselves. It's like a knowing that everything that happens to us comes from Jesus, or at least, say, think that's good for our soul. That is part of the process for us for our purification, and take everything like if it comes from Jesus, no matter what it is. And then we can recompensate those bad moments, right? Those moments that make us suffer, releasing this other soul with pardon. and that is exerting charity. We're releasing them from you know from the chain of not pardon the other person for what they have done.
He also tells us about the intention, the importance of intention here, to do it for love of him. And I think that will also come up later, right? How important the intention is.
Well, for Jesus, the intention is the most important thing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, if our intention is to love him, to repair him, well, that's what he is looking for, and that is what makes him happy and make him feel accompanied. But if our intention is to do our will, then that is what our will is going to act upon our intention, and the act is going to have the same resolution of the intention that we had when we were thinking about the response that we were going to give, or the act that we're going to do. So if it's for loving Jesus, our intention, that's what Jesus is going to see. If our intention is to make him suffer, that's what he is going to see.
Mhm.
Yes. We need to have this continuous renunciation to us, to have this action.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because this is not about us. This is about him.
Yes. It's for him.
But the situation is that we were raised by our family, society, our environment to look after ourselves. Everything is about me, myself, and I.
Yes.
So Jesus is never in the picture. But now Jesus is telling us, no, look at me. With one eye, look at what you do. He
Yes.
says, with one eye, look at me, and with another eye, look at what you are doing.
So let's go back to mortification. He said to me, I want all your things, even the necessary ones, to be done in a spirit of sacrifice. See, your works cannot be recognized by me as mine if they do not have the mark of mortification. Just as a coin is not recognized by the peoples if it does not carry on itself the image of their king, even more it is despised and neglected. The same with your works. If they do not have the graft with your cross, they cannot have any value. See now, it is not about destroying the creatures, but yourself, making you die, that you may live only in me and of my own life. It is true that it will cost you more than what you have done, but pluck up the courage. Do not fear. It is not you who will do it, but I myself will work in you.
But this is even more important, right? Going back to mortification, he's just saying what it is. He says, uh, take your cross and follow me. Mortify yourself. Don't look at the things that you want. Just I don't know how to say this in English, but renounce would say the things that you like,
Mhm.
and mortify yourself in order for me to do the work that I want to do in you, because he is showing her. He doesn't say it here, but he is showing her the value of being united in his will. Mortify what you want, and just look at me, look at what I'm doing, imitate me, and unify yourself with me. And look at the end, he says, it is not you who will do it, but I myself will operate in you. So he is the one who's going to do his work in us.
Mhm.
But if we use our will, then that's not going to happen, because human will and divine will don't cannot fuse. It's only one will. It's either human will or it's either divine will. That's why we need to mortify what we want to do, what our desires are.
Mortification is the coin we need.
Exactly.
That is the continuous sacrifice of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so important, mortification, because we continue sacrifice of ourselves to live in this divine will.
And sacrificing ourselves also, buddies, I think that it's like to die to ourselves.
Of course.
Yeah, so if we die to ourselves, then is when the real life, that
Yes.
is the life that God had created for us, that is waiting for us, then it could be, it's not only a possibility, it's a decree. You know, you give me your will, you die to your will, and I will give you all what I have created for you, this divine life that I have created for you.
Yes.
So I received more lights about the annihilation of myself. He said to me, "You are nothing but a shadow. As you try to grab it, it escapes you. You are nothing." I felt so annihilated that I would have wanted to hide in the deepest abysses, but I saw myself incapable of doing it. I felt such blushing that I remained mute. While I was in this undoing of my nothingness, he said to me, "Draw near me, cling to my arm. I will sustain you with my hands, and you will receive strength. You are blind, but my light will serve you as guide. See, I will place myself in front of you, and you will do nothing but look at me in order to imitate me."
That's very important.
Yes.
It says, I will place myself in front of you, and you will do nothing but look at me. So nobody is important, only me. That's what Jesus says. If you look at me, I will be in front of you, and that's when you can imitate me. Because if you don't look at what I do, there's no possibility that you can imitate me. So everything has to disappear. Everybody has to disappear.
And these words, "you are nothing," I think this is so important too, because we always believe that we have something in us. We are so bigger even than God. So Jesus teaches you are nothing. And so many times we believe that we are something, you know?
Well, yeah, that's how we were raised, right? That we are something.
Yes. And we believe and we raise with this all our lives. But Jesus says we are nothing.
And later on, Jesus will let us know that 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 the divine will can only work in us, in our soul, if we don't have nothing, if we're nothing, because God cannot go into something. It has to be empty. So we have to empty ourselves of everything that we think that is something, because that something obstructs the work that God wants to do in us, because it's the opposite of what God wants to do to us, with us and in us.
Okay, then he said to me, "The first thing I want you to mortify is your will. That self must be destroyed in you. I want you to keep it sacrificed as victim before me, so that your will and mine may become one. Aren't you happy?" Yes, Lord, but give me the grace, for I see that by myself I can do nothing. And he continued, Yes, I myself will contradict you in everything, and occasionally by means of creatures.
And that's very interesting, right? He's going to contradict her.
Yes,
How
and
many
that's so
times?
true.
Huh?
And that's so true in this life.
Hmm. But then, Jesus contradicts us in many ways,
Yes.
but we don't listen to him.
Yes.
We don't listen to him. We just keep on being the same as we were and saying the same things that we used to say, that we are something, that we are somebody, and that it has to be done the way that we think. So we don't listen the inner voice, which is Jesus.
We continue with our will,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but yeah, we contradict you in everything and everyone, with family, with friends, with the people in the streets, and we don't listen to him. We don't listen, and
He, that's need to show us to detach to us in that way.
Mhm.
Mhm. He even says, I want you to keep it sacrificed
Yes.
as victim before me. So sacrifice your will before me. Sacrifice yourself. It says that self. Sacrifice it, destroy it,
Mhm.
because that is not your real life. That is death.
And he said, the first thing I want you mortified is your will.
Mhm.
That self must be destroyed in you. So this is important.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mortify or will in every single thing.
Yep. So, yes, Lord, but give me the grace. I'm going to reread it. For I see that by myself I can do nothing. And he continued, Yes, I myself will contradict you in everything, and occasionally by means of creatures. So it happened. For example, if I woke up in the morning and I did not get up immediately, the interior voice would tell me, You rest while I have no other bed but the cross. Hurry up, not so much satisfaction. If I walked and my sight would run a little farther, he would immediately reprimand me. I do not want this. Do not let your sight move away from you, but the length of one step, so that you won't trip. If I was in the countryside and I saw flowers and trees, he would say to me, I have created everything for love of you, and you deprive your sight of this pleasure for love of me. Even the most innocent and holy things, as for example the clothes for the altars, the processions, he would say to me, You must take no other pleasure but in me alone. I was sitting while working. He would say to me, If you are too comfortable, don't you remember that my life was a continuous suffering? And you, in order to content him, I would immediately shift to half of the chair, leaving the other half empty, and sometimes jokingly I would say to him, See, O Lord, half the chair is empty. Come and sit near me. Sometimes it seemed he would content me, and I felt such delight that I myself cannot express it. Sometimes then, while I was working a little slowly and listlessly, he would say to me, Hurry up, help yourself, for the time you gain by helping yourself, you will spend with me in prayer. Sometimes he himself would assign to me how much work I was supposed to do. Then I would pray him to come and help me. Yes, yes, he would answer me. We will do it together, so that when you have finished, we will be more free. And it would happen that in 1 hour or two, I did what I was supposed to do during the whole day. Then I would go to pray, and he gave me much light and told me many things, such that it would be too long if I wanted to say them all.
That's so interesting, right? How he would contradict her in many things, like even in sleep. right? You have to hurry up. You have to wake up because if you said it there, uh, I had no other bed but the cross. So hurry up, hurry up. And he kept on telling her different things. So, but the most important thing here at the end to me is that uh, he said, she said that when Jesus was with her, then things were done like much faster. Then she would have time to do other things. But when Jesus wasn't with her, then it took her a longer time. At the end here it says, then I would go to pray, and he gave me much light and told me many things, such that it would be too long if I wanted to say them all.
And we need to listen to this interior voice and not ignoring it, because we always ignore that voice, and he always speak inside us, but always ignored that voice. So it's precisely to listen to him in every single word, in every single person, always see Jesus in everyone.
But buddies, many times we don't listen because of many reasons, but one of the reasons is because there's too much noise around us.
Yes.
Sometimes we lose,
And inside us.
and inside us, yes,
Yes.
around us and inside us as well.
Yeah.
We have too many noises, and we can listen to God in silence.
Yes. That's truth. So much noise.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Can I add something?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Guadalupe.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Happy to see you all. Well, but uh, um, for when when I read that we don't listen to him because too much noise or for whatever, it's because we don't know God. We don't know God. We don't know that He is in the silence, that He is in the emptiness, and in things like this. So you will be in the silence when you know that this is the place that you should to look for Him. So what we need is to study more these books, uh, to know about him and to know the way he behaves, that we can find him in the places that he mentioned to us all around the book. This is what I wanted to share.
Yeah, we are full of many things, thoughts, creatures, and we don't listen his voice.
Maybe what I was saying, right? That we don't listen because we don't know him. And you know something? Many times we know Jesus in different ways because in life maybe we had like an experience, right? In a retreat, for example, or we had an experience, a spiritual experience in some environment, and we had that kind of connection, like the first connection with him, but then we kind of wipe that out of us because it's not what we're maybe used to, or because when we go out to the world, it it the noise surrounds us so much that we just forget about what we have received in that spiritual experience. And it's just because what Guadalupe said, we don't know him. We don't know him. Maybe we had like a little retreat, some hours that somebody came and read the Bible or read some spiritual thing with us, and we kind of understood something, but we don't care about wanting to know a little bit more about
But I think many times it's not to listen to him because it's hard. It's hard to us. So sometimes the soul, it's better for the soul no listen because we need to renounce to ourselves. That's the other part, you know?
Yeah, he says so in these readings that we
Yes.
are going through.
Go ahead.
I remember that while I was alone working, I noticed that the thread was not enough to finish the work, and that I would need to go to my family in order to get some. So I turned to him and I said, "What is the purpose of having helped me, my beloved? As I see that I need to go to my family, I may find people who may prevent me from coming back here. And this time our conversation will come to nothing." What? He said to me, "Don't you have faith?" "Yes." "Well, then, do not fear, for I will make you complete everything." And so it happened. And then I would start to pray.
Well, that's one of the things that he taught her, right? Just not only to listen to him, but to not fear and to have faith in what he is telling her, to believe in what he is telling her. You know, if I'm sorry, is that her to have faith in him,
Mhm.
but also not to fear to what he was telling her. And he was like leading her to have like a relationship with him, to believe in what he was telling her. Like, if I'm with you, everything is possible.
I don't think I can hear you.
Yeah, your mic is failed.
Uh-huh.
Mirta, your mic sometimes is failed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, let's continue. If anything, I'll just say whatever later on, okay?
Okay. If then at lunchtime I ate something tasty, he would immediately reprimand me interiorly, saying, "Have you perhaps forgotten that I had no other tastes but suffering for love of you, and that you must have no other taste but mortifying yourself for love of me? Leave it aside and eat that which you like the least." And I would immediately take it and bring it to the maid. Or I would say that I didn't want it anymore, and many times I remained almost on an empty stomach. However, when I would go to pray, I would receive so much strength and feel so satiated that I would feel nausea for everything. Other times, then, in order to contradict me, if I did not feel like eating, he would say to me, "I want you to eat for love of me. And as the food unites with the body, pray that my love may unite with your soul, and everything will be sanctified."
So he was teaching her, right? To look at him always, always. So what she wanted is not what's the most important thing. Is only to see and to understand whatever he wanted her to do. Like, she mortified herself because she wanted to eat and he didn't want her to eat. But then sometimes she didn't want to eat and he said, "No, you have to eat." So what you want is not the important thing here. What I want is what you should be looking into. For us, I think that for us is even more difficult than for Luisa, because we say, well, she was, she was always with him. She didn't have she didn't have a social life like we have. She didn't have a lot of people around her, never. But that's when we don't understand that Jesus wants us to go to be exactly like her, not to look at anybody but him. Wherever we're at, if we work, if we're at home, if we're alone, if we're reading, if we're watching TV, if we're reading a book, if we're speaking with somebody, we will always have to have our eyes in him
Mhm.
and what he wants.
And the other word that he had for, oh, sorry. And the other word that he had in this excerpt is to eat for love to me. That means that he's teaching her to do everything, but everything for love to him.
Yes.
And that is the clue. The clue is love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the spirit of mortification.
Mhm.
And this detachment from us must be continuous, even this in the small things.
Mhm.
That's that example, foods, vanity, people, I don't know, but the small things, it's so important to detach every single thing from us.
yeah. And here are the examples, as
So
Mirta says.
that's why this volume 1 is so important to enter, to live in this divine will. If we don't, if we can live this, we don't enter to live in the divine will, because this is so important. This mortification, this detach from us, everything in this volume 1 is important to enter to live in this divine will.
Yeah, because the emptiness
Yes.
is the criteria for him to come.
He
Mhm.
cannot enter. He cannot enter where there is something.
Yeah, yeah,
He can only enter when we call him, when we mortify ourselves, our will. No, I don't want my will to get in the middle of you and me. No, it's your
yeah.
will, the one who is.
And
Mhm.
right and right and right now we need to suffering for love of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the turnaround.
Yes, yes.
And to do that, we need to know him. We need to know the things that we didn't have before, because he didn't say it in that time. In that time, he decided to say it in this time
Mhm.
that we are living.
Mhm.
Well, that reminds me of the Ten Commandments, right? That the Ten Commandments are
Mhm.
our miseries,
Yeah.
are right there. Those are the, well, there's not only 10 miseries, but it's like the synthesis, I don't know, of all our miseries.
Mhm.
So it's do not do this, do not do that, do not do that.
Yes.
Everything is like, right, I would say not superficial, but things that are like normal in society and all of us. Uh, but in this case, in the book of heaven, it teaches us that miseries are put there because he wants us to do the opposite. He wants us to consume those miseries in love, in the love for him, so he can give us his attributes, and he can possess us and we can possess him. It's
Now,
beautiful.
now that you mentioned the commandments, this is the way that we should to live the first commandment.
Mhm. Exactly. The first commandment.
Well, the commandment is a sentence, but right now we need to do this for love of him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the difference, I think.
Mhm.
Well, the first commandment is say, love God
Yes.
in everything. So
Yeah,
this is the way.
but we see that obligation,
Yeah, yeah.
in the commandments. But right now in this life, we need to see and only do that for love of him.
But the thing is that he always says the same. In the commandments, he didn't pretend that we be slaves, like slaves. He 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 says that for us to be free and not to be near sin or near temptations, or as Mirta says, the miseries to turn it to virtues.
Mhm.
We humans were teach or were taught or we interpret,
Mhm.
we understand that it is an obligation or punishment, but he didn't pretend to do that.
No, but us, we see in that way. So no, Jesus or God don't pretend that.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's like when he says, and when one of the commandments, I'm not sure if it's the fourth, that says, honor your father and your mother, right? But that in the divine will is not only honor your father and your mother, is see me in your father and your mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's when you're going to honor me. So everything has to do with him, but he was teaching us through all those centuries to lead us to the book of heaven that is like the fulfillment of those 10 commandments, which is love. It's loving him, mortifying ourselves. It's like dying to ourselves in order to, to receive him and his attributes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So we can continue, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, in a word, without going any further, even in the smallest things, he tried to make my will die, so that it might live only for him. He allowed that I be contradicted also by the confessor. For example, I would feel a great need to receive communion for the whole day and night. I would do nothing but prepare myself. My eyes could not close to sleep because of the continuous throbbing of my heart, and I would say to him, Lord, hurry, for I cannot be without you. Accelerate the hours, let the sun rise quickly, for I cannot resist any more. My heart is fainting. He himself would make me such loving invitations that I would feel my heart break. He would say to me, See, I am alone. Do not be troubled because you cannot sleep. This is about keeping company with your God, with your spouse, and your all, who is continuously offended. Oh, please do not deny me this relief, because then in your afflictions I will not leave you. But while I was in these dispositions, in the morning I would go to the confessor, and without knowing why, the first thing he would say to me was, I do not want you to receive communion. I tell the truth, this was so bitter for me that sometimes I would do nothing but cry. I would not dare to say anything to the confessor because he himself wanted him to do so. Otherwise, he would reproach me. But I would go to him and tell him of my pain. Oh my good, is this the vigil we have kept last night, that after so much waiting and yearning, I was to remain deprived of you? I know well that I must obey, but tell me something, can I be without you? Who will give me strength? And then who will have the courage to depart from this church without bringing you along? I don't know what to do, but you can remedy everything. While pouring myself out in this way, I would feel a fire draw near me and a flame enter my heart. I would feel him within me, and immediately he would say to me, calm yourself, calm yourself. Here I am, inside your heart. What do you fear now? Do not afflict yourself any more. I myself want to dry your tears. You are right. You could not be without me, could you?
See, in this paragraph, it's interesting also because in the previous paragraph, she was being contradicted in physical things, like in eating, for example, and like waking up for physical things, right? But then in this paragraph, it has to do with spiritual things, with the communion. So she wanted to receive communion, but then Jesus, for some reason, Jesus appointed her confessor to tell her, no, you're not going to receive communion today, because that is part of mortification. is dying to herself. And in other volumes, I just remember when we were reading this one, that the most important thing is not the sacrament of communion, it's the divine will in the soul. That is the most important thing. So if we are deprived of communion, if we really want to have communion and we can't, because there is I think it's in volume 12, if I'm not forgetting. Jesus said, what is something like this? What is the most, if a mother wants to go to church, but she cannot go to church because she's taking care of her children, but she wants to go to church and she wants to receive communion, what is most important for her? The suffering that she has, like wanting to receive communion, but she can't because she's taking care of her children, or a person that goes to church and receives communion, but not in the way that they should be receiving communion. So what is the most important things? The most important thing is the divine will. If the person has a divine will in the soul, that is what really matters, because the divine will is the one who is going to take us directly to the supreme relation.
I think he wants to separate her holy things, including the most important thing, which is the Eucharistic for her. And that's why he gives her this contradiction through the confessor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another teach from us, because we have attached, we need to, I don't know, apegado, ¿cómo diría? Attachment
Oh, yeah,
Attachment. Yeah.
to the holy things. But it's inside us, but we need to leave this to have in nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
and that's contradiction so important, and to her and for us, because we have so many times we have possession through these holy things, and we don't have to part or live away.
You mean the feelings that we have for the things, even
Yes.
the saint or the spiritual, or like the Holy Sacrament, that we don't go for himself. We go to feel
For us.
Mhm.
Yes.
We go for us
Yes.
to feel better. Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is obedience, huh? Even to the priest when he says something that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find that part of the Book of Heaven that speaks about the sacrament, but I can't find it right now. So, but what I can do is maybe put it in the chat when I find it, so that way we can reread it. So, are we going to continue reading for a little bit more?
Sure, I can. We'll do one more paragraph, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then I would remain so very annihilated within myself, and I would say to him, if I were good, he would not have disposed it in that way. And I prayed him never to leave me again, for I did not want to be without him. After these things, one day after communion, I felt him within me, all love, loving me so much that I myself was very much amazed, for I saw myself as so bad in unrequiting. And I said within myself, if only I were good in requiting, I fear that he may leave me. I have always had this fear that he might leave me, and I still do. And sometimes the pain I feel is so great that I believe that the pain of death would be minor if he himself does not come to calm me. I can give myself no peace. While he wants to draw more intimately close to me, while I felt him within me in this way, through an interior voice, he said to me, My beloved, the things of the past have been nothing but a reparation or preparation. Now I want to come to the facts, and in order to dispose your heart to do what I want from you, that is, the imitation of my life. I want you to enter into the immensity of my passion. After you have understood well the bitterness of my pains, the love with which I suffered them, who I am, who suffered so much, and who you are, a most wretched creature, your heart will not dare to oppose the blows, the cross, which I had prepared only for your good. On the contrary, but just thinking that I, your master, has suffered so much, your pains will seem shadows to you compared to mine. Suffering will be sweet for you, and you will reach the point of not being able to be without sufferings.
Well, I think that the summary of this one is the disposition of the heart to do what Jesus wants her to do, right? To imitate his life. And we can only imitate his life by suffering. There's no other way. That's why he said suffering will be sweet for you, and you will reach the point of not being able to be without suffering.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we start with the passion, you know,
Exactly.
meditation of the passion of Jesus. To love the suffering. Right now, we need to love the suffering.
I think it's good to read the next paragraph because it's very much related to this.
Okay. Yeah. So my nature trembled at the mere thought of sufferings. I prayed that he himself would give me the strength, because without him I would use his very gifts to offend the giver. I would use his very gifts to offend the giver. So I gave all of myself to meditating the passion, and this did so much good to my soul that I believe that all the good came to me from that source. I saw the passion of Jesus Christ as an immensity of light, which wounded me all over with his innumerable rays of passion, of patience, of humility, of obedience, and of many other virtues. I saw myself all surrounded by this light, and I remained annihilated at seeing myself so different from him. Those rays that inundated me were so many reproaches for me. I heard them say, A God so patient, and you? A God humble and submitted also to his very enemies, and you? A God who suffers so much for love of you, and where are your sufferings for love of him?
For the people who is the first time hearing this, the previous paragraph could make them feel tremble, like Luisa described here in this other excerpt. But what she mentioned here is something that Paris said, how the knowing about the passion, understand everything about the passion, makes her makes her feel good, and she says that her strengthness come from this source, reading the passion. So reading the passion will make us understand why the suffering is so important and how to change suffering into happiness. Huh?
Yeah. And in this passion, we are going to see who we are and the damage we have caused to the life of God in us. So that's why the meditation of the passion is so important. And I think this is the first step to keep going with this volumes.
Yeah, you are right.
So I found because I know that we have to leave, but I found the lecture is in volume 11, is 1164, and it's like let me see, it's like it's the second paragraph. I'm gonna read it kind of quickly. It says well, the name of it is The Divine Will is the Center of the Soul. The sacrament produce their fruits and effects according to how souls are submitted to the divine will and to their connection with it. So Jesus was telling her that, that sometimes people that are devout souls that go to, and receive Him, perhaps every day, should be as many saints if the center of the Eucharist were sufficient, but instead, and it is something to be cried over, they remain always in the same point, vain, irascible, punctilious, etc. Poor center of the Holy Sacrament, how dishonored it remains. But then he says, on the other hand, there may be a mother who does my will and who, because of her situation, not because she does not want to, cannot receive me every day.
Mhm.
And one sees that she is patient, charitable, and carries the fragrance of my Eucharistic virtues within herself. It is perhaps the sacrament, or rather my will, to which she is submitted, that keeps her subdued and make up for my most holy sacrament. And then he continues there. So what makes the sacrament of Holy Communion honored or dishonored is if we are living in the divine will or not, or doing His will or not. So we can leave it here, and then we'll continue next Wednesday to continue this beautiful volume number 1.
Great.
Right. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. God bless you all.
God bless you.